Life hasn't been kind to 42-year-old Owen Buzzard. We found him scrapping metal on a vacant lot in South Memphis and then spoke with him at a nearby park where he told us he's had a rough life since childhood. But one incident in particular, just over 4 years ago, pushed his life further into chaos and grief.
It's been a downward spiral since that.
The night he met former Memphis police officer Colin Berryhill.
How you doing?
Body camera footage obtained by the Institute for Public Service Reporting and shared with Action News 5 shows Buzzard being stopped by Officer Berryhill on the evening of April 10, 2019. According to Buzzard, he turned his truck around in the opposite lane of traffic moments after he left his house. He thought scrap metal had fallen off the load he was hauling. He pulled over when he saw Berryhill's blue lights. When the officer asked for Buzzard's license and learned it was suspended, Berryhill told Buzzard to exit his truck.
Step out the car for me for a second.
My license suspended. When?
Step out of the car for me. You're not going to jail. I'm detaining you.
For what?
Step out of the car.
That's it.
Don't drop your phone, man. I just told you.
The footage shows within moments, Berryhill put Buzzard in handcuffs and began walking him to his patrol car.
You got any weapons or anything on you?
No, man.
Hey, I don't know what you're doing, but cut it. Get your hand.
There was a scuffle and Buzzard fell to the ground. Berryhill then tased him in the abdomen while Buzzard's hands were cuffed behind his back. You can hear Buzzard's girlfriend yelling in the background. Berryhill then called for backup, saying Buzzard was reaching into his pants, which Buzzard denied.
I didn't reach in my pants. I was pulling up my pants.
When the supervisor arrived on scene, Officer Berryhill gave his version of events.
And I didn't know if you had a weapon or not. And the only thing available to me was my taser because I was down on this side.
No weapons were found on Buzzard that night, and he maintains he was simply trying to hold up his pants while handcuffed.
And I got hit with a taser. I thought I was getting shot when I heard the gun go off.
Were you afraid for your life?
Yeah.
What Buzzard didn't know at the time was that Officer Berryhill had a history of firing his taser. And on that night, the lieutenant on scene informed Officer Berryhill that his brothers in blue had given him a new nickname.
By the way, you got a new nickname. Biffle gave it to you.
What is that?
It's Taser Face.
What do you think of everyone laughing?
I think it's very disrespectful and unprofessional.
Documents obtained by the Institute for Public Service Reporting show Berryhill had used his taser unnecessarily on 3 separate occasions. The first was on a juvenile in 2018. Berryhill tased the teen in the back after he'd ordered him to walk away.
I'll wait till he turned around. He was still getting them. I took him to the ground.
Why are y'all surrounding me, though?
Berryhill used his taser again in 2019.
Just talking to you, boss. We ain't trying to jump on you.
When Memphis police were called to a home after a 21-year-old damaged his parents' front door and said he was depressed and had been drinking.
Please, man, no, please.
His arms were held by 4 other officers, and MPD's internal review later determined he didn't pose a threat when Berryhill used his taser. That incident occurred just 6 days prior to Berryhill's encounter with Owen Buzzard. And only after the case involving Buzzard did Memphis police look at all 3 cases and find Berryhill's use of force excessive in each one. In an interview with the Memphis police deputy chief, Berryhill explained he tased the juvenile because he would not comply. He said he tased the 21-year-old because he wanted to incapacitate him. And he used his taser on Buzzard, he said, because of the strength and suddenness Buzzard used to step away from him. But even after MPD determined Berryhill should not have used his taser in each case, his disciplinary hearing wasn't scheduled until a year later. And this internal file states Berryhill abruptly resigned the night before that hearing. In his resignation letter, Berryhill said after 11 and a half years with Memphis police, he and his family were moving, and he was starting a new career in the near future. Just 1 month later, Berryhill took a job a few miles down the road with the South Haven Police Department.
Absolutely, it concerns me.
Claudia Williams-Hyman is a senior staff attorney at the American Civil Liberties Union of Mississippi.
South Haven, like many counties in Mississippi doesn't necessarily view a history with misconduct or history with sort of violent incidents as a deal breaker.
The South Haven police chief, Macon Moore, agreed to an on-camera interview to discuss the department's hiring practices, but requested that we talk off-camera first. When our conversation landed on specific hires like Berryhill, the chief backed out of our interview. The South Haven Police Department has about 155 police officers on staff. We found 6 names that matched former Memphis police officers. Now, Chief Moore says most of his police officers have never been in law enforcement before, and those who have, his staff will speak with their previous employers. Chief Moore says he would never hire anyone with an unacceptable disciplinary record and pointed out that Berryhill had never been disciplined. Again, that's because Berryhill abruptly resigned before his disciplinary hearing could happen. But another of Chief Moore's officers was disciplined for excessive force while working for MPD. Former Memphis police officer Brandon McLean was suspended without pay for a month because he violated MPD's excessive force policy after he put a handcuffed prisoner in a chokehold, used his hand to strike the subject's face, and said he wanted to or would kill the man 7 separate times. McLean denied the beating to the deputy police chief, but when asked if he could see how his verbal statements could suggest abuse or excessive force, McLean said yes, he could see how using that type of verbiage could make it seem like he was physically abusive to the suspect. McLean is now a sergeant in South Haven, and Berryhill was named Officer of the Month in 2021. Chief Moore said Berryhill has carried a taser for nearly 3 years now and hasn't used it once. That would mean the last time Berryhill used his taser was on Owen Buzzard. Since that night, Buzzard has lost his home, his car, and his girlfriend. He also says he's suffered permanent injuries from the taser hits.
My medical doctor told me that the twitching of that one leg is probably from that. She says she can't say it 100%.
What Buzzard can say with 100% certainty is that he hopes to never encounter Officer Colin Berryhill again.
I feel sorry for anybody that he comes in contact with in South Haven.
For the investigators, I'm Jessica Jaglois.